The Danfo bus was packed. Too packed. The roof rattled with each bump. Sweat dripped from every face. The seats were broken, and the floor was wet from someone's spilled drink. The air inside was thick, part heat, part engine smoke, and part frustration. Every few seconds, the conductor leaned halfway out of the bus, yelling, "CMS! CMS! Hold your change, oh!" His voice cut through the blaring horns and street noise like a blade. But inside the bus, one person didn't move. Tolani. Late 20s. Brown-skinned. Sharp eyes. Quiet face. She sat by the window. Still as stone. She wore a white shirt, loose but clean, and a long black skirt that reached her ankles. Her hair was packed neatly under a plain scarf. She looked like a schoolteacher on her way home. Ordinary. But in her hands, she held something far from ordinary. In one palm, a small black USB stick. In the other, a folded red envelope, the paper one, the edges soft from being held too long. She didn't blink much. Her chest barely rose. The rest of the bus was chaos, but she sat in it like a ghost, untouched. Her eyes stared out the window. Focused. The bus was crossing a Koi bridge now. She saw Lagos in its layers, slums on the left, where children ran barefoot through puddles, chasing stray goats. And luxury flats on the right, standing tall like they didn't know the other side existed. Her fingers tightened around the envelope. She didn't notice. She hadn't loosened her grip for almost 20 minutes. A baby cried near the back. Someone argued over change. A woman's bag bumped her shoulder. Still, she didn't flinch. Inside her mind, things went calm. They were loud. Did I cover my tracks? Was I seen near the office? Is the contact still alive? What if the message gets intercepted? What if they are onto me? Sweat formed on her lower back. But not from the heat. She looked down at her hands briefly. Her thumb had pressed a tiny crease into the red paper. That envelope had once belonged to her father. She found it hidden in an old radio after his funeral. Inside, a list of names and a password. She never told anyone. Until now. She blinked. Focused again. The Danfo sped past an open market. A hawker shoved a bottle of La Casora through the window. She waved him off without turning. A little girl across from her leaned forward, eyes wide. "Are you a spy?" the girl whispered. Tolani turned slowly. A soft smile appeared. "No," she said, her voice low. "I'm a teacher." The girl tilted her head. "But teachers don't look like that." The mother pulled her back gently, whispering, "Stop that." Tolani gave the mother a polite nod and turned back to the window. Her reflection met her gaze. Calm face. Tired eyes. Lips pressed tight. She looked like a woman holding her breath. The conductor banged on the roof and shouted, "Next stop." They were near Oberlin now. Traffic slowed. Tolani stood quickly. Her knees were stiff. She gripped her bag tightly. "Walker pass," the conductor said, smacking the door open. She stepped off the bus and landed in the middle of moving legs, shouting voices, and smoky air. EXT, street, day. The road was madness. People sold everything from books to boiled eggs. Cars honked without reason. The sun was fierce. The buildings around her looked tired, like they'd seen too much. She kept walking. Fast, but not too fast. Confident, but not loud. She passed a man grilling corn. Another was fixing a generator by the roadside. Somewhere nearby, someone's radio blasted an old fella song. She turned down a smaller street. Then stopped at a yellow kiosk. "Good afternoon. Where can I find a cyber cafe?" The vendor looked up from his newspaper. "Turn right, enter that small street. You go see one signboard on the left." "Thanks." She moved on. She didn't smile again. As she turned onto the side street, something made her glance back. There was a man in a red shirt. He wasn't buying anything. He wasn't walking anywhere. He was just there, talking on the phone, looking her way. Tolani turned back, kept walking. Her pace changed slightly. Int. Cyber cafe, minutes later. The room was dusty, and the paint was peeling. Computers hummed like tired bees. A slow ceiling fan clicked above her head. A teenage boy behind the counter looked up. "Yes, auntie. I want to scan and send something," she said. He pointed. "System 4. She sat. Her bag stayed on her lap. She plugged in the USB. The screen blinked to life. Her heart picked up speed. A folder opened, history project. Inside, harmless files, school papers, student grades, scanned forms. She clicked the hidden zip file labeled Class Records _2005.csv. Hundreds of names, dates, amounts, notes, and a single highlighted row. Foshola, Daimeji. Status, active. Link, boy, codenamed Lion. Tolani's finger hovered. Then she selected the file, compressed it, attached it to a new email. Typed. "For your eyes only. T. 2. A secure address only she and 2 others knew. She clicked send. A loading bar appeared. Uploading. 85%. 92%. 100%. Sent. She closed everything. Removed the USB. Deleted history. She stood, breath caught in her throat. "How much?" she asked the boy. "Nigerian Naira 300. She paid with exact change. Outside, the sun had dropped slightly. Shadows stretched long. She checked her phone. Typed. "It's done. The envelope is still safe. Meeting at 8. She hovered over the send button. Pin. New message, plans changed. "Don't go home. You're being watched." She looked up fast. Same man in the red shirt. Now closer. Just across the road. He wasn't pretending to be on a call anymore. He was watching her. Directly. She turned. Started walking. Faster this time. Not panic. Not yet. But she was close. Pin. Another message. Run. She ran. Clutching her bag. Envelope still inside. USB back in her hand. She turned into a small alley. Then another. She pushed into a tailor's shop without knocking. Int. Tailor shop, moments later. Sewing machines buzzed. Fabric hung from hooks. A woman raised her head, confused. Tolani smiled quickly. "Please, auntie. I'm just here for my sister. I'll wait quietly." The woman shrugged and went back to stitching. Tolani sat in the corner, behind a rack of lace. She tried to calm her breathing. Her fingers opened her bag slowly. Touched the red envelope. Still there. The USB sat in her palm. She hadn't lost anything. Except for time. Except for safety. Except maybe her age. Her phone buzzed again. She didn't check it. She leaned her head back and whispered to herself, "Just breathe." The lights were soft, almost golden. Smooth Afrobeats paused beneath the quiet chatter of wealth. Perfume mixed with the smell of grilled steak and imported wine. Waiters in black moved like shadows between tables. Tolani stepped into the lounge like she belonged. But everything about her was different from earlier that day. Her scarf was gone. Her hair now fell in soft waves. Her face had light makeup, just enough to sharpen her eyes and soften her mouth. She wore a dark green dress, simple but perfect. It hugged her body without shouting. Her heels clicked lightly on the floor. People turned to look. Not because she was loud, but because she was complete. Like a story that made sense. She spotted him already waiting at a table near the window. Daimeji. Mid-30s. Sharp suit. Watch that caught the light just right. Confident posture, easy smile, eyes that missed nothing. He stood as she approached. Tolani, he said warmly. Even better than the pictures. She smiled. That's rare. Most men say the opposite. He laughed, pulled out her chair. Wine? He asked. She nodded. The waiter poured a deep red into 2 glasses. 2 new connections, Daimeji said, raising his. She raised hers too, but only took a small sip. I'll admit, he said, you don't strike me as the Tinder type. Tolani tilted her head. Maybe I swiped on a dare. Daimeji laughed again. It was smooth, well practiced. But something behind it felt real. Under the table, Tolani's finger tapped her thigh, 3 short, 2 long. A pattern. A code. A habit. She wasn't here for a date. She was here for answers. He leaned in slightly. So, what do you do, mystery woman? I teach history, she said. Secondary school. History. He raised an eyebrow. That's deep. It can be, she said. Especially when the past doesn't stay buried. Daimeji smirked. I like that. You're poetic. Underneath the soft lights and romantic music, they looked like 2 people falling for each other. But inside, Tolani was building a mental fire. His laugh, sincere or trained. His eyes, sharp or distracted. His suit, too sharp for a banker. Maybe ex-military. His hands, scar on the thumb. Sign of training. She noticed everything. He didn't know that the lipstick she wore was laced with a voice-activated mic. That her left earring was a GPS tracker. That her purse held a microcamera already recording. Still, she smiled. Still, she laughed. Tell me, Daimeji said, what made you swipe right? She gave a small shrug. You didn't smile too much in your pictures. That's a good thing. Too many smiles feel fake, she replied. Like someone hiding something. He paused. And what do you think I'm hiding? Tolani held his gaze. We are all hiding something, Daimeji. He smiled again, but slower this time. The waiter came with their food, grilled tilapia and jollof for him, prawns and steamed veggies for her. They ate slowly, talking between bites. She told him about her school. He told her about his work in logistics. It was vague. Purposefully vague. Every few minutes, he checked his phone. She noticed the screen was clean. No cracks, no case. Expensive. You like this place? He asked, looking around. It's nice, she said. Soft lights. Easy to forget things here. He nodded. Some places are built to make you forget. Others help you remember. Tolani set her fork down. And which one is this for you? Daimeji looked out the window. For the first time, something in his face changed. Softer. Almost regretful. Depends on who I'm with, he said quietly. Her fingers stopped tapping. A small silence settled between them. She broke it. Do you always talk like this on first dates? He leaned back. No. Most first dates are about food and lies. This feels different. She sipped her wine. So, he asked, voice lower now, if we weren't pretending, who would you say you are? Her answer came quickly. Too quick. I'm someone trying to start again. He nodded slowly. That makes 2 of us. Int. Tolani's apartment, night. Later. Tolani stepped into her flat and locked the door behind her. Her heels clicked on the tiles. She didn't turn on the lights. She went straight to the bookshelf. Moved 3 books. Behind them, a panel slid open. Inside, a small metal box. She opened it. Laptop. Micro SD cards. Tiny black files marked with red ink. A photo of her father in a military uniform. She took a deep breath. Plugged in the micro recorder. Downloaded the audio from her purse. Daimeji's voice filled the room. I just moved the case. Didn't know what was inside, until someone died for it. She paused. Rewound. Played again. The words were strange. Sad. Not cold like she expected. She opened a document on her laptop, Target Dossier, D. Fashola. Notes filled the page. But now, doubt was creeping in. She opened a video chat window. Encrypted. A voice answered. Scrambled. Blurred face. Leader, VO, report. Tolani spoke softly. He's smoother than expected. Slippery. But something's off. He's either good or conflicted. Leader, you're there to finish it. Not understand him. She hesitated. There's something I haven't told you, she said. He mentioned. Osogbo. My father's last case. Static silence. Leader. That doesn't change the objective. Tolani stared at the screen. It changes everything for me. The call was cut. She sat back. Closed her eyes. She remembered her father's voice. His laughter. The way he tied his shoe with a double knot. The way he told stories about real justice. She thought of the red envelope. The old file is inside it. She opened her drawer. Pulled it out. Unfolded it. Inside were three things. A photo of a man's back with a lion tattoo. A name scribbled in shaky pen, boy. And a phrase, one of them lives. The rest were masks. She sat with it in her hand. She wasn't sure anymore who was wearing the mask. Int. Daimeji's apartment, same night. Daimeji stood at his window. Shirt off. Drink in hand. He looked down at Lagos. It never slept. It only changed color. He touched a scar near his ribs. Old. Faded. Ugly. He reached for his phone. Scrolled through Tolani's profile. Paused at her smile. He looked again. Something in him was stirring. Maybe she wasn't just a job anymore. Maybe he didn't want to lie tonight. But he had to. The building was quiet. Outside, dogs barked in the distance. A generator hummed somewhere down the street. Lagos never really slept, but inside Tolani's apartment, silence wrapped itself around the room. She locked her door. Then the bolts. Then slid a small wooden wedge under the frame. She didn't take off her heels. She didn't drop her bag. She went straight to the wall near her bookshelf. It looked like any other bookshelf. 4 rows. History textbooks. Literature. A Bible. A dusty class photo frame. She reached behind the lowest row. Click. The panel opened inward like a hidden door. Behind it, a narrow compartment, padded and grey. The cool light blinked on. She stepped in. The wall closed behind her. Inside the small room, a laptop, 2 hard drives, 1 surveillance headset, and an old framed photo of her father in uniform, Nigerian Army, 2001. He was younger then. Smiling. Beside him stood a man whose face had been scratched out with red ink. She sat in front of the laptop and plugged in the micro recorder from her purse. A loading bar appeared. Transfer in progress. She reached for a small file marked in red pen, code, lion. She opened it. Inside were surveillance photos of Daimeji Fashola, entering banks, clubs, and office buildings. One image showed him speaking to a man with a blurred-out face near a white SUV. Another showed him exiting a compound in Victoria Garden City. Underneath the photos were documents. Account names. Car plates. A shipping record marked. Item, Case 44B. Destination, Osogbo. Delivery date, July 11, 2005. Tolani stared at the file. That was her father's last assignment before he died. Back when she was still in secondary school. Back before she understood what corruption meant. The file also contained an unmarked USB. She plugged it into the laptop. A login window popped up. She entered a password, that double knot. The screen blinked. Welcome back, Tolani. Connecting to the network. Her camera light blinked green. A face appeared on screen, but it was blurred. The voice that followed was low and scrambled. Leader, VO, Agent T, status. Tolani swallowed. Progressing. Contact made. Phase 1 is complete. Phase 2, delayed. A pause. Leader, why delayed? She hesitated. I think he suspects something. Not fully. But he's careful. The leader's voice stayed flat. That's expected. He's trained. Tolani's voice lowered. It's more than that. Another pause. You're starting to like him, the voice said. She didn't answer. Instead, she clicked on the new update that had just arrived in the shared folder. The document opened. Top corner stamped. Target identified, a code name, Lion. Below it. Photo, Dimeji Fashola, age 35. Alias, Falcon. Affiliation, Oil Money Syndicate. Position, Regional Fixer/Logistics. Link to, Boyalota, dead/missing. Tolani's hand stopped moving. That name. Boy. Her father's cousin. The man who disappeared after the shooting. The man who was supposed to be dead. She pressed rewind on the recorder from earlier that night. Dimeji's voice. I just moved the case. Didn't know what was inside, until someone died for it. She froze. He had mentioned someone dying. Could he have been talking about her father? She clicked the next file in the shared folder. It was an audio message. The voice wasn't scrambled. It was her father. From a recording taken before his final mission. Father, VO. If this reaches you. I was right. Don't trust what they say about boy. He was in deep. Too deep. He tried to warn me. And then he vanished. Tolani's lips trembled. Her breath came slower. The voice continued. Find the lion. He's not dead. And he's not alone. Tears ran down her cheek, silent and quick. She clicked on the video call icon again. The scrambled face reappeared. I want to activate priority channel, she said. Are you sure? She nodded. This is personal now. You understand what that means. She reached for the red envelope again. Opened it. Inside was a slip of paper she hadn't dared read in years. On it. The day you stop teaching is the day you start hunting. I understand, she said. The screen split. 3 more blurred faces appeared. All with voice distortions. She'd only seen them once before. Kola, VO, you called for a vote. She nodded. I'm requesting full clearance to pursue target lion without waiting for base approval. Silence. One face leaned forward. You know the cost. If I don't act now, we lose him again. I can't risk that. The vote was quick. All 3 said yes. The leader confirmed. You now have full access to level 3 intelligence. A folder opened on her screen. Inside. Audio tapes from Osogbo. Medical examiner's report. Warehouse security footage, damaged. A redacted file, Agent 57, final confession. Tolani's eyes narrowed. She opened the confession file. A voice, rough and tired. Agent 57, VO. They were moving crude. Not oil, raw intelligence. disguised in steel cases. Sent from Delta to Osogbo, then shipped out of the country. When I found out, I was told to stand down. I didn't. There was a pause. The man in charge wore a lion tattoo. Left shoulder. Said his name was just a nickname. But I saw the look in his eyes. He used to be a soldier. Same unit as Tolani's father. Click. End of file. Tolani leaned back in her chair. Her hand moved to her necklace, a tiny silver knot. A copy of her father's army badge. Everything suddenly felt heavier. The voices started to fade out. But one message came in, not from the call. A direct message, private. Sender, unknown. Message, watch your six. The falcon is awake. She stared at it. Falcon. Daimeji. She reached for her phone, opened her gallery, and zoomed in on a photo she had taken earlier, of him smiling across the table. Innocent. Too innocent. She tapped the screen once. Zoom in on left wrist. There. A faint scar. Circular. Not from an accident. From a sealed military dog tag removed. She remembered now. She'd seen that same mark once, on her father's friend. All the signs were pointing. But they didn't tell her what kind of man Daimeji really was. Was he hiding evil? Or running from it? The buzzer at her door rang. She jumped. The hidden room went dark. She slipped out quietly, resealed the shelf, and stepped back into the apartment. Another buzz. She grabbed the kitchen knife, walked slowly to the door. Checked the camera feed. No one. Just a red envelope on the floor. She opened the door carefully, picked it up. Inside, a single flash drive and a handwritten note. Not everything is what it seems. Let me show you the truth. D. Her fingers gripped the paper tightly. She looked out into the night. Then shut the door. Locked it. Bolted it. And slid the envelope into her hidden drawer. Not yet. Not tonight. Tomorrow, she would decide what kind of hunter she wanted to be. The rain came lightly at first. Just soft taps on the windshield. Daimeji's car sat under a flickering streetlight. The engine purred softly, his fingers drumming on the steering wheel as he waited for Tolani to return from a quick stop inside the pharmacy. She had asked for motion sickness pills. Said the ride was too bumpy. Daimeji smiled to himself. City girl, he whispered. He looked into the rearview mirror and checked his collar. Then his eyes scanned the street, nothing suspicious. Just a tired momo-put stall across the road and a man selling newspapers, already dozing off. Inside the car, everything was in place. Except for one thing he didn't know. Underneath the dashboard, just near the fuse box, a small black device blinked silently. A bug. Planted 5 minutes earlier by Tolani, while he had stepped aside to take a phone call. She had leaned in to adjust her shoe, her fingers quick and precise. Years of training wrapped in the body of a polite school teacher. Now, the recorder was live. Back at her flat, her laptop was already receiving the feed. Daimeji didn't know. Tolani returned, slightly wet from the rain. She slid into the front seat, shaking her hair lightly. Thanks for waiting, she said. Anything for a lady, he replied with a grin, starting the car again. They pulled into traffic, heading toward a dinner meeting he had insisted on. Somewhere low-key, far from their usual spots. Tolani kept her smile polite. But her mind was working. She had chosen this route for a reason. Her team had marked an abandoned estate 2 kilometers ahead, a place where oil money used to flow before a scandal killed the project. Now it was empty. Dusty. Forgotten. And maybe, hiding something. As they drove, her fingers gently tapped her thigh again, 2 beats, 1 pause. Code, ready. The bug transmitted every word. But what she was truly hoping for was one name. Boy. She had waited years to hear it again. Half an hour later, the estate came into view. Daimeji slowed down. "Shortcut," he said casually. She nodded. Inside, the road was cracked. Grass pushed up through cement. Faded signs read, "Luxury living coming soon." Half-built houses stood like broken teeth. Daimeji parked near one of the units. "Let's step out for a moment. I want to show you something," he said. Tolani hesitated, then nodded. "Okay." EXT, abandoned estate, night. They walked under the broken archway. His footsteps echoed. Hers followed softly. Rain fell harder now. But the estate was silent. Even the wind seemed careful. Daimeji stopped near a bricked-up bungalow. "This was supposed to be part of a housing deal in 2006, he said. "Top investors. Lots of promises." "What happened?" she asked. He turned toward her. "Someone died. Someone important." He didn't say more. But Tolani was staring at the house. There, behind the broken steps, was a small lion engraving. Old. Almost faded. She moved closer. "What's this?" she asked, pointing. Daimeji was quiet. He looked away. "That's why I brought you here," he said finally. "There are things I need to tell someone. Things I've never said out loud." Tolani froze. Was this the moment? Was he going to say it? He continued. "Years ago, I worked under a man named Boy. I didn't know him well. Everyone called him Lion. He was feared, respected. He ran security for major oil routes." Tolani's heart thudded. She stepped closer. "And then? I was young. Naive. He asked me to move a briefcase once. Said it was just papers. I didn't question it. He sat on a broken step. That same week, there was an ambush in Osogbo. A man died. An army officer. The case I moved was linked to that." Tolani didn't blink. "Do you know the officer's name?" she asked. Daimeji looked at her, rain on his face. "I do now. I looked it up years later. His name was Major Bamidele. Tolani felt her knees go weak. Her voice cracked. "That was my father." Silence dropped between them. Even the rain seemed to fade. Daimeji's face changed. "I didn't know. I swear I didn't know he'd be the one." She stepped back. One step. Then another. Her hand went to her bag. Not for a gun. For her phone. She pressed record. But Daimeji saw the movement. "You're one of them," he said quietly. "One of who?" "The ones trying to clean the past with fire," he said. "You think killing me brings peace?" "I don't want peace," she said. "I want the truth." He stood. Slowly. Then pulled something from his coat. Not a weapon. A photo. A photo of Tolani's father. And beside him, Boy. But this time, not blurred. Not scratched out. And not alone. Another man stood in the background. Holding a small briefcase. "Daimeji. I was there," he said. "But I was a pawn." Tolani stared at the photo. Then back at him. "Then help me," she said. "Help me find Boy. Help me finish this." Daimeji took a breath. "I've been waiting years for someone to say that." They turned to leave. Suddenly, Daimeji's phone buzzed. He checked it. Paused. His jaw tightened. "What?" she asked. He turned the screen to her. A message. "You've been compromised. Disengage. Ban all traces. She knows too much." Below it, a live image of them standing in the estate. Tolani's blood ran cold. Someone else was watching. Int. Tolani's apartment, night. Back at her flat, the laptop shut off by itself. A small spark popped near the USB port. The system had been breached. Files, gone. The network, offline. Tolani and Dimeji didn't know yet. But the game had changed. And the hunter had become the hunted. Lagos never truly goes dark. From above, the city shimmered like spilled stars, headlights in traffic, blinking signs, pools of blue and red from club lights. It was a city that danced and bled at the same time. Inside Club Zeta, everything glittered. Crystal chandeliers hung above a marble floor. VIP booths were carved in black velvet. Women in silk gowns laughed over champagne. Men in gold chains and fine suits made silent deals behind sunglasses. Tolani stood in the middle of it all, smiling. But her smile was measured, exact. Just enough to seem warm. Not too wide to give herself away. Her eyes scanned the room. Her ears filtered sound. Her fingers tapped gently against her wine glass. 4 short beats. Code 4, I'm listening. She wore a silver dress. It shimmered when she moved, but didn't distract. Her makeup was perfect. Her hair tied up in a smooth twist. She looked like power dressed in grace. Beside her stood Dimeji, relaxed and glowing under the lights. Welcome to the real Lagos, he whispered in her ear. She gave him a side glance. The city of masks. He smiled. Exactly. They moved through the room like wind, touching everything but never staying too long. Tolani saw them all. A commissioner with a belly too full of pepper soup. A lawyer whispering into a burner phone. A woman she knew from a surveillance fire, arms dealer's sister. And then there were the silent ones. The guards by the walls. The men who didn't drink. The women who didn't smile. She clocked them all. They reached the back of the club. A hidden staircase. A nod from a bouncer. They ascended. Int. Private room, continuous. Upstairs, things were quieter. A curved sofa. A glass table with rare drinks. A view of the city through a tinted wall. Dimeji poured them both something dark. Not wine this time. Tolani took a sip. Tasted like fire and secrets. He leaned against the wall. You handled yourself well tonight. She smiled faintly. I was just observing. He nodded. And there's tension, she said. Everyone's laughing too hard. Like they know something's about to fall. He looked impressed. Tell me, she asked, swirling her drink, why bring me here? He didn't answer directly. Instead, he stepped closer and touched her shoulder lightly. Because you're not like the others, he said. She didn't move. You watch, he said. You calculate. You don't chase attention. You study it. She met his gaze. You do the same. They stood in silence for a second. Then Dimeji sat down and reached for his phone. Look, he said. He showed her a video, grainy footage of a man carrying a steel briefcase. Timestamp 2005. Warehouse. Rain. The man looked familiar. Her heart stopped. It was her father. Dimeji paused the video. This is the day before he died, he said. They blamed it on a rebel cell. But that wasn't the truth. Tolani's throat tightened. He pressed play again. Seconds later, another man entered the frame. Broad. Wearing gloves. A lion tattoo on his neck. Boy. Her uncle. Her father's blood. And then Dimeji. Younger. Eyes full of fear. She watched in silence. You were there, she whispered. He nodded. They told me it was a routine drop. I was just transport. I didn't know it was a betrayal. She looked away. He leaned in, softly. I want to find him too. I want to fix what we broke. Tolani's hand trembled slightly, but she kept it on her lap. You could have told me, she said. I didn't know if I could trust you, he said. I still don't. silence again. Then her phone buzzed. She glanced at it. Message from caller. Upload confirmed. Continue phase 3. She slipped the phone back into her clutch. Face calm. But inside, her chest was shaking. She had just uploaded everything, Damage's files, his voice, his admission. He didn't know yet. Int. Damage's apartment, later that night. The room was modern and cold. Black leather. Metal frames. Giant TV that played muted news. Tolani sat on the edge of the couch, heels off, feet curled under her. Damage was in the kitchen, pouring 2 glasses of water. She looked around. On the coffee table. A closed laptop. A cigar cutter. A file marked Red Zone, Delta Bay. She noted it. Are you always this quiet after drinks? He asked, handing her a glass. Just thinking, she said. About. If I should trust you. He sat beside her. You shouldn't, he said. That made her laugh. He smiled too. But then her phone buzzed again. Another message from caller. Data received. Watch your 6. He may have backup. Her smile faded. She stood up. I should go, she said. He didn't stop her. I'll call you tomorrow, he asked. She nodded once. If we're both still alive. EXT Damage's building, moments later. Outside, she walked fast. Back to her car. Wind had picked up. She opened the door, sat, and immediately pulled out a tiny laptop from under her seat. Logged in. Watched the upload bar finish. Data sent to 3 network locations. She shut the laptop. But something was wrong. No message came from caller. Nothing. She checked again. Still nothing. Her heart dropped. She grabbed her phone. Called his number. No answer. She tried again. Still nothing. Int. Tolani's apartment at midnight. Back at her flat, she entered slowly. Locked the door. The lights were off. Her phone buzzed again. Finally, a message. But not from caller. From unknown. Subject, your contact. Attached, a photo. She opened it. Her body froze. It was caller. Dead. Blood on his shirt. Eyes open. Face beaten. In his hand, the same USB she had given him days ago. Her scream never came. She just fell back into the wall, sliding down slowly. Another message arrived. You were warned? Watch who you trust. She stared at the screen, her eyes wide and empty. Everything she had built, shaken. Someone was inside the network. Someone was watching her moves. And now, she was alone. The city lights stretched far in every direction, but up here on the 14th floor, it all felt quiet. Damage leaned on the balcony rail. His shirt sleeves were rolled up. The night wind moved slowly across his face. From this height, Lagos seemed peaceful. Below, horns blared. Sirens cried in the distance. But up here, just him, the sky, and silence. He took a sip from a glass. Whiskey. Ice almost gone. He hadn't called Tolani. He couldn't. She had seen too much in his eyes the last time. Heard too much in his voice. And something told him she didn't just walk away with memories. She walked away with evidence. Behind him, the sliding door opened. Tia, his right hand, stepped out. She made the drop, Tia said, low voice. I figured, Damage said without turning. Any movement? Tia nodded. Her contact dead. Networks bleeding. They don't know who's inside. Damage looked down at the glass. We didn't need to kill him. Tia shrugged. He knew the price. You taught us that. A long pause. I just wanted out, Daimeji said. All these years, I just wanted a clean door. Tears nodded. There's no clean door. Only quiet exits. Daimeji's jaw clenched. He had given everything to this world. Loyalty. Service. Blood. But peace. It always stayed just one deal away. Int. Tolani's flat, same night. Tolani sat on the bathroom floor. The lights were off. Only the moonlight coming through the high window touched her skin. Her hands shook, resting on her knees. Her phone lay on the floor beside her, the message still open. You were warned? She had stopped crying. Now, she was planning. Kola was gone. Her link to the network was down. The last message from the server showed 3 failed uploads. Her location might already be known. They'd let her go this far on purpose. To burn her when it mattered most. She looked at the USB drive still clutched in her palm. The one Daimeji had given her. It could be a trap. It could also be the only truth left. She stood up slowly. Wiped her face. Walked barefoot into the main room. She inserted the USB into her laptop. Loading files. Only one folder appeared. Watch_me. She clicked. A video began to play. Int. Warehouse, year 2005. Rain hammered the roof. Her father, younger, stood under a flickering bulb. He held a gun at his side. Across from him stood boy. Bulkier. Fierce. A lion tattoo visible under his shirt collar. Then another man walked in. Daimeji. He was just a boy then. Maybe 20. Her father raised the gun. You lied to me, boy, he said. I warned you, boy replied. Daimeji stood frozen. Shaking. He held a case. I didn't know, he said. I swear. They said it was documents. Tolani leaned in closer to the screen. The camera shook. Gunfire. Screams. Then static. The file ended. Her father died that night. But not because of Daimeji. Because someone set them both up. She opened the second file. A document. Operation Lion Gate, declassified notes. Lines jumped out. Funds moved via shell banks. Multiple army units compromised. Ajayi attempted internal whistleblowing. Marked for removal. Daimeji Foshola, Korea. Uninformed asset. Protected status denied. Tolani covered her mouth. Daimeji hadn't lied. Not fully. He was a tool. A name used. Then discarded. Just like her father. She pulled out her journal. Flipped to the page with her father's quote. Truth hides in plain sight. But power wears perfume to mask its stink. EXT, city streets, early morning. Tolani walked alone. No makeup. Hoodie. Plain jeans. A satchel across her shoulder. She kept to side roads. Changed buses twice. Switched SIM cards in her phone. She arrived at a small building behind an old church. She knocked twice, paused, then once more. A man opened the door. Old. Blind in one eye. He smelled of kerosene and salt. She whispered, I need a new address. He nodded. No words. Int. Safe house, midday. The room was bare. A mattress. A fan. A single window with iron bars. She set her laptop down. Connected to a private signal. Her message was clear. 2 remaining network nodes. Do not trust Central. One of us is compromised. I need to expose the falcon. But he may not be the real lion. She paused. Then added. I think I've seen the lion. And he's still breathing. Int. Daimeji's apartment, night. Daimeji sat alone. Shirtless. The room dark, lit only by the blue light from a TV he wasn't watching. His phone buzzed. Unknown sender. He opened the message. A photo. Him. Walking into the abandoned estate with Tolani. Caption, she led you there on purpose. And now she has the truth. Another message followed. You failed the code. Burn her. Or be burned. He stared at the screen for a long time. Then deleted the message. No reply. He picked up the lion necklace he had hidden for years. Clenched it in his fist. Then whispered, it ends tonight. EXT Bridge, night. Tolani stood near 3rd Mainland Bridge. She stared into the black water. Cold wind on her face. She remembered her father. His laugh. His handshake. His last hug. A drop of water hit her cheek. Rain. Again. She looked to the right. Dimeji stood a few feet away. He wasn't hiding. She didn't run. You came alone, she asked. Yes. No backup. He nodded. Only ghost. They faced each other. You lied, she said. I was used, he replied. You still are. A pause. He stepped closer. I want to end this, he said. So do I. He reached into his coat slowly. Pulled out a flash drive. This has the final footage. The one that names them all. Why give it to me? Because you're not just trying to kill the past. You're trying to clean it. She took the drive. Their hands touched. For a second, peace. Then a car pulled up fast. Black. No plates. Doors flung open. Masked men jumped out. Run. Dimeji shouted. Gunfire. Tolani ducked behind a pillar. Dimeji pulled a pistol from his boot. Return fire. She clutched the drive. The real war had begun.